from Screen Junkie Studios in the heart of Los Angeles, this is Screen Junkies Movie Fights. Now your host, Andy Signore.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Movie Fights. We have some fantastic topics for you today to break down and fight, including Best Denzel Washington movie in the honor of what do they call it?
Magnificent
Seven. I almost said it. The what's the Netflix Adam Sandler one? I almost
Ridiculous
said
Six.
Ridiculous Six. Also, we'll be pitching Mission Impossible 6, as well as what superhero I'm starting this terribly. What superhero role should Eddie Murphy play? And so much more stuff, including Ghost in the Shell footage, which I was released. So stay tuned. If you're watching live, hashtag Movie Fights Live on Twitter. Dan Murrell on the fact-checking cam will be telling you some of that stuff, reading your tweets if you're watching live on Plus. If you're watching later, he'll still be reading tweets because there were people watching us live because we do that now. Yeah. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
You excited for this lineup? Should I introduce them?
Look at this lineup. Some familiar faces and some new faces. I love it.
Let's introduce some guys. First up, I'm so excited because I get to announce he's the new host of our new show, Flash and Friends, Screen Junkie's Guide to the Arrowverse. He's also our own Winter Soldier. It's Joe Starr.
Thank you
Is
for
your
having me.
regular non-weird fight? Have you done?
This is my first not ridiculous fight, so
right,
I'm very
welcome.
excited.
Joe finally gets to do a normal
to
fight.
wear my serious business pants.
Not a weird fight. All right, but I hope you still make it a little weird.
A little bit.
Good. Next to him, I'm so happy to have her. She was the co-host of Summer Movie Report, which I will see you back if you're willing next season, I hope, with Dan Murrell, as well as FX Movie Download. Welcome back, Sasha Pearl Raver.
AKA Super Ho. I'm so happy to be here. This is so exciting.
Although
I have to say, I am terrified. This is way scarier. I don't know why this is scarier than
It's just
TV
us, Sasha.
fights.
It's just us talking.
That's just
There's not like a live thousands of people watching us right now.
I think it's because I knew on TV fights I went on and I won. And I was like, okay. And I've only
you made
been
it to the
on
finals.
Movie fights I've only done once and I'd lost. And I choked on the speed round.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I got some PTSD.
Speed round's tough. Well, we'll see how he handles the speed rounds. His first time on the show, his debut. It's comedian Jay Washington.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having enough light on me to make it see me. I get to look at myself like, okay, is this skin illuminating?
I gotta be honest, Jake. That's what I do. But can I tell the story how I met you?
Yeah, please do. Please, it's the greatest
I wasn't
story
as
ever.
familiar with Jay, and now I am, and I'm so glad we're having him here. But I like to have drunken birthday parties where I sing karaoke.
I forgot all about this.
And the only birthday party place I could find nearby had an open mic comedy night before the karaoke started. And I was like, well, that doesn't seem like that's going to be very fun because I want to just get drunk and sing. So I found this little bar, and we showed up with like 30, 40 people, and the poor open mic comedians did not enjoy that we took over this bar, which rightfully so we should have because we had a very big bar tab for the bar that night.
Yeah,
But these poor comedians were up there trying to do open mic while we just did not care at all. And there were so many comedians who were like ribbing us the whole time and giving us trouble.
But that's what in the business we call a bringer.
Yeah, I was a bringer, and I didn't mind. I didn't care about it.
You
I was
would have
also
had
drunk.
all the stage time.
But I got to give Jay credit because while all the other comedians were sort of like ragging on us, like, "Oh, nerds, what's going on?" He knew his audience, and he killed it. He killed it. I was drunk. My wife and I remembered though how funny he was, and he came up. He knew it, and he got it. He was so good at doing it. He got a gig here on Movie Fights that night. I was like, "Let's do it." That's how you do it, guys. Don't hate on the audience. Know your audience, and then you excel in this world because you're a good person.
Especially at a bar, because like at a bar, if it's one person bringing 35 people, they can give a damn less about the 3 minutes you talking about. they spending all the money. I'm like, yo, y'all have fun. Thank you.
But you had known the show, you knew us, and yeah, I was super stoked. So tell us, because I wasn't familiar. Yeah, how do people most know you?
Man, most people know from being a stand-up comedian and actor in the movie Chirax with Spike Lee. Got a chance to be Wesley Snipes' right-hand man. Also a professional wrestler for 15 years, so that's why my shoulders are like this. I haven't been in prison. Just gotta make sure I let people know that. Co-host of the Trusty Sidekick podcast with Bobby Hill. We talk about all the Marvel and DC TV shows and movies. So we have a lot of fun just acting stupid doing that as being two comics. And I'm just an average black guy walking the streets. That's pretty much it. It's an average black guy.
No, you're an expert. I'm glad to have you here. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be a funny show. I know.
Emmy nominated.
Emmy nominated.
Walking the streets.
Walking the streets.
All right, well, let's do this. You guys know the rules. You've seen the show. I'm looking for
Yes.
passion, creativity, facts. Dan on the couch can help the facts. And next to Dan, I'm so happy we have a fan cam. It's Ian, I don't know, it's Candish?
Yeah.
I did it. Ian Candish. Welcome,
Nice.
Ian. Where are you from?
Around here, Simi Valley.
Oh, well, good. Easy drive.
Somewhere around.
Some people fly in from
parts.
somewhere cool. But hey, that's a long drive from Simi Valley at this time of day.
Yeah.
Traffic.
So welcome, Ian. You're a fan. I hope you pay attention because I may need your help here to help judge some of this as we get especially to the end. So thank you for coming and welcome. Shall we get to this, guys? Before we do, actually, 2 quick announcements. I just want to make sure I've alerted. Guys, I don't know if you heard, but we're doing a Screen Junkies open casting call. That's right. We're opening up the floodgates. We're launching a second channel soon, a news channel. It's been announced. More information will be announced this fall when we give you more specifics. But we're looking for help to report on news and do Screen Junkies fun stuff with us. And we thought if we're looking out there, why not open it up to you guys at home, because we wouldn't be here without you. And we know there's some hardcore Screen Junkies who think they can do what I'm doing way better. You tell me all the time. I get it. Well, now's your chance. Step up and send a submission link. You can do it at, I think the link's on screen. There you go, sj.plus/newjunkie. Hopefully it's not case sensitive, but in case it is, write it like that or try it both ways. But that's it. Submit a video, all the questions, what we're doing, all of it can be there. But if you ever thought, hey, I'd like to move to LA and get a job at the Screen Junkies, this could be your shot. So how's that? Also, we'll be in New York Comic Con on Friday, October 7th. We have a panel Friday night at 8:00 p.m. And then we're doing a meetup just in the city in New York on Saturday, I think around 12:30. More of that TBD. Follow us on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at Signore or at Screen Junkies, and we'll tell you more. Guys, that's enough of me talking blah, blah, blah. Let's fight.
Come on! Let's get nuts.
I want to fight you.
You want to fight? Let him fight.
You start this fight, I'll kill you.
I could do this all day.
Scroll on me.
Like
I think we still need Let Them Fight.
Yeah, we need Let Them Fight at the end.
I think we need Let Them Fight at the end.
That's just too iconic. That's where it was born, right? I mean, come on, that's always been there. But good montage. We're working on it still. Here we go. Question number 1 comes from JPEC1098 on Twitter. And this is in honor of the Magnificent Seven, which is coming out this week. Superfan Jonathan Peck, who I know he's had some questions asked before. Good job. You get some questions in. He wanted us to figure out what is the best movie starring Denzel Washington. He's done a bunch. He's a fantastic actor. Magnificent Seven, I'm guessing, is probably not his best work, but it's probably fun enough.
His best mustache.
Yeah.
Best mustache ever, though.
But what is Denzel's best movie? And we're going to start with you, Joe. What's your pick?
Well, I thought this was an odd choice for Movie Fights, because Movie Fights is a game with 3 players in it. There's only one correct answer to this question, and that is Alonzo Harris from Training Day. I don't know what you're writing, Sasha. That doesn't... There's no really need to take notes on this. I would consider... Alonzo is Denzel's Heath Ledger's Joker. He is a career-defining villain. There's so many dimensions to this guy. He is terrifying. He's violent, but he's got this charisma that traps you and brings you in. There are so many moments in that movie where you're just like, fuck this guy, but also this guy, I want to also hang with this guy and maybe just hope he doesn't punch the hell out of me. It's absolutely an incredible role. It won him his Academy Award for Best Actor. And not only is he amazing as Alonzo, but his performance as Alonzo elevated the material and it elevated the cast around him.
All right. Sasha, who are you picking? What movie are you picking?
Well, I love Denzel, but I think it's hilarious that Joe thinks there's only one right answer, because there is. And the answer is Malcolm X. There is no performance that was more profound than this. You've got Spike Lee at the height of his powers turning out a 202-minute-long movie that Denzel carries from start to finish. This was an incredibly, incredibly controversial film. It started out with Norman Jewison. Norman Jewison had to be replaced by Spike Lee. A lot of actors didn't want to touch this role. People didn't think that Denzel Washington could play the part. They thought he was too small. They thought he was the wrong complexion. That, to me, is a career-defining role. And you can talk about the Academy Award for Training Day, but the reason he won that Academy Award is because stupid Pacino won it for Scent of a Woman when it should have gone to Denzel Washington for Malcolm X, a film that goes beyond anything. Because you're talking about best movie. The best movie Denzel was ever in? That's Malcolm X. And it's also his best performance.
Hooah!
Okay, well, thank you for asking the black guy about another black guy last name Washington. First,
any relation?
God, I wish. You think this is? I'd be sitting here. What are you doing? I'm with my uncle Denzel. So, I agree. Training Day is a good movie. I definitely agree. Malcolm X is a good movie.
You better. You were in Chirac.
For me, the best though would have to be Book of Eli for several reasons. First of all, it's a movie set in a post-apocalyptic world where the black man is the savior. Let's be honest. We hear about all these films all the time, films and TV shows that show us a post-apocalyptic world, The Walking Dead being the most profound, but you don't have a black leader. Yeah, people will say Michonne, but it's always Rick Grimes at the end of the day. You have these other movies, but then you have The Book of Eli, where he carries the whole movie as a blind character we don't figure out until 3/4 of the way through the film, right? Not to mention his dynamic with Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman, who is an outstanding actor in his own right. And for what him, the relationship those two had, and to realize the whole thing he was carrying the entire time was a Bible from memory, and all he had was an iPod with less than 2% of juice. How many people freak out when their iPod goes to 50%, let alone 75 on an iPhone? I got a Galaxy, not the Note 7, but I'm good. But nonetheless, you have that, and also it's Denzel Washington. No other character could have played that role and carried that. Yeah, you would have had to have the background of a Training Day, the background of a Malcolm X, the background of a Glory, the background of a Hurricane, and so many other movies to lead to this character here. So Book of Eli.
All right, fight it out, guys.
I think Book of Eli is hilarious because the question is what's the best movie? And Book of Eli is a terrible movie. It's forgettable. It's not a great performance by him. It's interesting, but you talk about the Hurricane, you talk about Glory. Glory is perhaps his best role. However, it's not his best movie.
Right.
His best movie, without question, what other movie that you guys have brought up is in the Library of Congress for being both aesthetically, culturally, and historically relevant? Because that's Malcolm X.
Of course, it's the character he's going to play as Malcolm X. Of course, it's going to be held in that regard. But again, people since the Book of Eli has come out have consistently gone back to this movie.
You're the first person who's brought up Book of Eli.
Yes, that's fair.
I can't
No,
think
I
of a single
know a bunch of
person
people
who's
brought
brought
it.
up Book of
Hey,
Eli.
I know a bunch of people with basic cable that constantly watching on TNT. Now what?
It's a fun movie, and it's a solid TNT movie, but it's kind of a gimmick movie. I would argue Glory actually over this. That's a supporting.
That's a supporting Oscar.
Yeah.
I would argue Glory over Book of Eli. Sasha, there's a lot of movies in the Library of Congress. Birth of a Nation's in the Library of Congress, Sasha. First
of all, I don't like the way you said that, Joe.
That's the old one, not the current one with the controversy around it.
I would argue, it's a great biopic, but he's doing a fantastic impression of Malcolm X. I think there's a ceiling when you do a biopic where it's like, is he doing the guy? Yeah, he's doing the guy. Training Day, this is a character he built from the ground up, and the tension that this movie ratchets over and over and over again, it just keeps building and building and building as he keeps breaking down Ethan Hawke. I mean, it just starts from the first frame, that first moment he calls him when he's in his kitchen, and it never lets up. I would argue until he falls on a trunk of a car.
With Book of Eli, again, we've always had these movies that base around a certain time and a certain topic. You all can laugh about that. Think about it. How many vampire movies have we had? How many werewolf movies? And hear me out, Andy, for you sit over there.
Are we going to count that? Is there a way to count that?
But that's why. But that's why.
Ever?
But that's why, though. That's why I bring those up. We have all these movies that go along those lines consistently. You have something that changed the tide. You didn't have your normal hero being the normal dude. You have an iconic actor such as Denzel Washington in this role for this movie. It stands out alone because of that, because him being different from what he's done before.
But this is what I think is interesting. You guys are talking about heroes and you're talking about biopics, but the truth is Malcolm X was a very divisive character. And in truth, we didn't really know, like when you play Martin Luther King, you know who Martin Luther King is. Right. You know what to expect. A lot of people don't know what Malcolm X sounded like, didn't really know what to expect, and what they had heard was very, very negative. So what you ended up doing was having this character who was so multifaceted, who did all the things you're talking about in Training Day. He charmed you. You didn't like him. You did like him. You rooted for him. You rooted against him. You never really knew what you wanted to do. And he did build that character from the ground up. He had Alex Haley's book, and that was it. He never met Malcolm X. Malcolm X was dead long before he would have ever had that opportunity, but he still created something that was totally iconic, so memorable, but completely dimensional, which is the hardest part about a biopic, because it can easily go Hallmark. It can easily go Lifetime.
Okay, so you've argued that it did the same thing as Training Day, but then I would still argue that Training Day goes over. Soundtrack is better. Action is better. I know that these are weird,
there's no
difficult
action.
things to argue.
I don't think... The soundtrack, if anything, I'm gonna go to soundtrack off Malcolm X, even though I'm arguing Book of Eli over Training Day. But it's got to change. It's gonna come. How many people have cried over that song? Okay, but that's not
Shotgun,
the point.
Yeah, there's a lot of good.
There's a lot of good songs
in that soundtrack. See, in the Malcolm X soundtrack.
Yeah.
You just got so much hate on Twitter for being biased.
But it's true.
Real quick, you need that guy.
Let's still win.
The thing about Training Day is it's a movie that is super fun. It's really, really fun.
Rewatchable.
But it's
Those are
also,
important things about movies.
But a lot of that is the dynamic dynamic between Ethan Hawke and Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington carries every frame of Malcolm X.
I would disagree.
He never has a minute where he's allowed to relax. He's on screen the entire time. It's 202 minutes.
I would disagree that this is even dynamic. Part of the stress and the tension that comes from Training Day is everyone running to catch up. I mean, this is a guy that's in a league of his own in this entire movie. Everyone is a step behind him until the end of the movie. And you want to talk about, this guy doing something different. Denzel Washington's easily a guy who could have just coasted on another movie where he saved a little girl. He's on an easy leading man status. Your movie's a little different for him, I agree, but Training Day, man, this is a bad dude. This is a piece of shit, irredeemable character, and it's such a cool decision for him to play this guy.
It's exactly the same character that was in Street Kings, only Street Kings came out 3 years earlier. He basically just replayed Forrest Whitaker's character.
No, he didn't. He completely those are two completely different characters.
No.
You're not going to compare Forrest Whitaker in Street Kings to Denzel in Training Day.
It's a dude who has power, who uses the power corruptly, and then takes down, in one case, Ethan Hawke, and in one case, Keanu Reeves. But explain to me where in any way you have a movie that has as much profundity as Malcolm X.
I think you're stuck more on the historical value of Malcolm X more than anything else.
Let's talk about the cinematography. Let's talk about the shots that nobody had used before until Spike Lee decided to do them.
Let's
talk about the character that he created. Let's talk about Angela Bassett showing up in that movie. That's a damn good movie that Denzel Washington is in.
But that Spike Lee can get that type of cast regardless. So I'll say that personally. Spike Lee can get that
he can get a Jay Washington.
No, man.
And I'll say,
if Spike,
you want to talk about Malcolm X creating discussion, I would argue Training Day can do the same thing. There are weird shades of gray throughout this movie. That this guy, the things that this guy does, the tactics he has, the opinions he has. You can walk out of this movie and be like, I kind of agree with that. This was, he's taken it to extremes, but you can have a discussion in this movie, and it suggests that you can't just because it's an action movie. Does films in general a disservice?
Now here's why I say this about Book of Eli. No, regardless of what all the three of you all think. Every time I bring Book of Eli, we're going to stop giggling.
Stop roadhousing him.
Roadhouse. Here's the reason why I like it, because it's different from everything else, too. Again, Training Day, he changed everything. He played a completely negative character. He did a 180. Malcolm X, it's a biopic. He's got to go somewhere different. He's got to research his character. The Book of Eli is something that says it's going to be a select few who like it. Correct? True. But those who like it hold it in high regard. Myself, many others I've spoken with. Probably not on this show. I get it. Be the first. Whatever.
Can you fact check that, Dan? That people like Book of Eli?
You can probably fact check that.
Well, I'm sure there's some people that like Book of Eli.
Dan, I like the way you said it like it was only 5 people.
I'll answer any stupid question seriously.
Yeah.
He was like, it's probably about 7 people.
I mean, Jay's there, so yes, I can fact check that Jay likes it. So yes,
you gonna make me and 6 other people?
There are some people that like Book of Eli.
All right, here's what I need. Here's what I need from all three of you as you're closing. Give me one more reiteration as to why your Denzel movie, is better than the other 2 movies. What is it about your movie that's better than the other 2 movies? Final argument. Go ahead. Joe.
I mean, for one, this is the Denzel role in a movie that he carried 100%. He didn't need Spike to carry him through this. This is a movie that embodies Denzel. It won him the Academy Award, and that is absolutely why. It's quotable. It's a memorable character. It makes a lasting impression on you. And
over the other 2 movies.
Over the other 2 movies, Malcolm X. It's more of a history lesson. It's a higher bar. It's a different film experience. This is a more visceral, down and dirty, gritty movie. You're in there with him in an alleyway while he's pushing a guy up against the wall. It's intense. There are the images in this movie that do not leave you. And again, it won him the Academy Award. He elevates this entire movie. This isn't a Spike and Denzel joint. This is a Denzel joint.
Okay, you had nothing to say against Book of Eli. I made a note of that. Yeah, go ahead, Sasha.
The reason that Malcolm X is a better movie is because it does involve Spike Lee. It does involve Angela Bassett. It does involve Denzel Washington doing something that is so difficult to do and making it look effortless. And you want to talk about something that's quotable? How many people can say, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock landed on us?
Yeah, but somebody said that before Denzel did.
It doesn't matter. He made it iconic. We didn't know that. That wasn't I Have a Dream. That was something that now lives in the culture because of what Denzel Washington did to it. When you think about the shots, when you think about him and Spike Lee in zoot suits, strutting through Harlem in that incredible shot. When you think about the Hitchcock push zoom that he did when he's in like that one moment on the street, these are things that live in the iconography of American cinema. It's just flat out a better movie that has more impact on our culture. It's longer and yet is not boring. It's just as rewatchable. It's incredibly well acted, and it took something that is so much more difficult than a corrupt cop. It was somebody who in American history was hated by like 50% of the population, or at least misunderstood, and made him somebody who we believed in, who we wanted to know more about, and who we remember today. And it's because of Denzel Washington's performance.
All right, neither of them took a
Have acknowledged this movie.
Kind of.
I get it, and I'll take that, and I understand that. Again, this movie twisted a lot of perception of what we've seen about post-apocalyptic movies. Again, we see those consistently done. We see TV shows based off of them. We always have the hero.
What? Give me more specifics as to
but
why.
what? Our heroes are never of color in post-apocalyptic movies. Never. No matter whether you're talking The Walking Dead as a TV show, any other ones. Never. You have a man. Also, we've never seen Denzel fight like that. Granted, have we ever seen Denzel really fight besides just shooting a gun? No.
The Equalizer. In The Equalizer, he had fight sequences.
Not like Book of Eli. None like Book of Eli. And
I would say that like amazing sort of Lowe's fight sequence.
Home Depot, yeah, Lowe's.
Yeah, whatever it was, like whatever they called it.
In fact,
yeah.
he wouldn't shoot a gun. It was everything but shoot.
Pulled the Lowe's card on you, man.
He shot a
I don't know.
Was it a Lowe's or Home Depot?
Depot, right.
I think it was a
like,
fake one.
Yeah, it was a fake version of that.
What
Like he
about
shot a
Lawn and
nail
Garden Department of
gun.
Walmart.
Anyway, sorry,
Jesus.
let your
But no, those different things that Denzel did in that movie. Again, it was easy for somebody to play a crooked cop. To pick a person that was historically accurate and prominent as Malcolm X, for him to play that, easy to do that. It's easy for again, we can go to Jeffrey Wright playing Martin Luther King. I can do different characters. But when you have somebody...
do Denzel? I mean, you do Malcolm X right now?
Absolutely not.
It's easy.
I didn't say we just random people could randomly play. I said it's easier. I'm saying me personally. You don't have to put me on the spot. That Jay, go ahead and put on some glasses. Nothing to do that. But I personally believe this one was his best work because it was something completely different from anything he's done. Again, we got movies that are the same from him.
Good. All right. I wasn't pushing there to be biased. I was pushing to try and get the answers I need. Dan.
I got you.
Yes. All right, I'm going to break this down like you're 4 years old. And by the way, that's a movie that a lot of people mentioned was Philadelphia that nobody mentioned. They thought it was a great Denzel
Equalizer was a surprisingly good movie, too.
I love that movie.
Training Day was Denzel Washington's second Oscar, his first Best Actor Oscar. He won Best Supporting Actor for Glory. Malcolm X added to the National Film Registry in 2010. Street Kings was brought up. Street Kings actually came out in 2008. It came out several years after Training Day, so technically Forrest Whitaker would have been playing Denzel's character from
Wait, what year did Training Day come out? 2005?
2001, I believe.
Fart!
And Plymouth Rock landed on us. It was actually... We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The Rock landed on us. That was the speech Malcolm X made
anything
in
true?
1964. Also, there is one of these. Two of these movies were certified fresh. Another one was not. And, of course, as always, there's the poll on our Twitter, Screen Junkies, at Screen Junkies. If you could vote, I will give you the results when you'd like them, Andy.
Based on the arguments, here's my problem. I was listening for Book of Eli, but I just heard a lot of it was different, but I didn't hear enough specifics as to why. And then when the fight scenes, he did do it in equal. So that argument is still wait. I just needed a little bit more because I do think you were going against the grain on that choice, and I just needed to hear more specifics. So that's why Book of Eli wasn't the pick. So it did come down between Training Day and Malcolm X. Both really strong arguments, but I just think one of you had a better closing, and that was Sasha. She gave me a lot of more specifics, and I think you were focused on the performance, and the question is best movie, and I feel like she sold why it was the best movie. Sasha gets the point.
Before the show, the guys were like, "Do you feel good about your argument?" And I was like, "One of them."
And this was the one.
That was a good fight. Dan, how would they say on Twitter?
Our fans on Twitter voted 47% for Training Day, 33% for Malcolm X, 20% said the Book of Eli.
Was Book of Eli the rotten one?
Yes, Book of Eli.
I was since the giggle. I was like, wow, he's really going for it in the first one. If you're going to go in a blaze of glory, that's
Good
how
job,
you do it.
dude. That
Good
was
argument,
impressive.
though. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Round two.
Training Day was my
Still
second
got a
choice.
shot here.
Training Day was my second, too.
Book of Eli was my second.
Thank you.
Was it?
Twist. All right, there you go. News stories this week said that Eddie Murphy wants to play. I mean, I don't know how this isn't even. That's not true. I read the article. Someone asked him would he ever do a superhero movie. He's like, maybe. It was a very non-committal answer. And they were like, what kind would you play?
I love questions.
He's like, I played a authoritative So this story got wheeled out of hand.
Would you like to make money? Sure.
I checked the article.
Possibly.
He made some comment about they're all young and he's not, so he'd have to be someone more authoritative. Anyway, regardless, it's now in the headlines that Eddie Murphy's going to be in a Marvel movie. No, he's going to be in a superhero movie. So people are speculating. So it just brought up the question which Austin Singleton asked: who should Eddie Murphy portray? I'm a big Eddie Murphy fan. Even when he does the dramatic stuff, Dreamgirls, I still think he should have won for that Oscar. That was a fantastic part. Anyway,
he didn't win though
because of Norbit.
Because of Norbit.
But even Norbit, like impressive. Like, he's good when he gets in the character. He's a great actor. I want to see him come back and do more roles. Although this new one didn't look for Mr. Church.
Yeah.
Really rotten. Did anyone see it?
No.
It looked terrible.
And I'm an
really
Eddie
rotten
fan.
on. What's going on over there? Anyway, let's see. How do we bring Eddie Murphy back in the superhero world and something fun? Sasha, you're first.
Okay, so when I think about Eddie Murphy, there's certain things I think about. I think about the fact that he's so good at playing multiple parts, like in Coming to America. I think of that iconic laugh, that like that. And when I think about characters, thank you.
It was so good. Can we hear it again?
One more time, please, for the people.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I can't do it. So I think of his laugh. I think of him playing multiple characters. And when I think of a character that would embody that, I think of the Joker. I feel like people were very turned off by Leto, and they will be happy to embrace a new version of that. And I would love to see Eddie Murphy play a hysterical villain, because he's such an interesting dude and he does have a great dark side as well as being an unbelievable improviser. And I would like to see him dive into that Joker character and do something totally different with it. And more than anything, what I hope is when he gets cast in that part, he brings his brother Charlie Murphy as his sidekick, because that's a movie that can take my money. My money. Takes my money.
Please God, no Charlie.
Yes.
Please God, no Charlie.
Yes.
Jay.
I am an Eddie Murphy fan, being a stand-up comedian naturally. I love Eddie's talent. I've always gone back to watching Delirious, to watching Raw, to watching all the movies Trading Places, 48 Hours, Beverly Hills Cop. I thought about the Joker for a second, and we've dealt with so many iterations of the Joker, we would need something different. There's a character that we would definitely need a reboot of, and Eddie Murphy would be perfect to play this, the Riddler. Who else can follow what Jim Carrey said as the Riddler? A lot of people may not have thought that character was much, but you needed someone with comedic timing. You can't have a basic. Granted, what you have on the TV show, I don't count that much. But I would love to see Eddie Murphy as that character, to play the dual roles, to be like when he did Bud in the Nutty Professor, when he was Buddy Love versus Sherman Klump, two different characters. That's him being the Riddler versus Edward Nygma. And then can you imagine the dynamic between him and the new Ben Affleck Batman on screen? This would be post the movie that's coming out, post the Justice League. I would like to see that. Also, like I said, his comedic timing as the Riddler would be perfect. It would be perfect.
All right, well, you're more Joe. Who are you picking?
I went with a sort of weird one. Eddie's been trying to throw himself a little more into dramatic stuff. James Early in Dreamgirls. I feel like he's trying to get away from the Norbit curse, that kind of thing. And I want to see Eddie Murphy play, and I want to give him a part that I think he could really jump into. It'd be sort of an emotional, realistic anchor of a superhero film. I don't want to see him doing superheroics. I don't want to see him fighting. He's an older dude. I just want to see him bring the chops that you guys so aptly described to just really bring an anchor to a movie. And so I want him to play Aaron Morales in a Miles Morales Spider-Man movie. Miles Morales is the half-black, half-Latino Spider-Man. Aaron is his uncle. Aaron Morales is kind of like a reverse Uncle Ben. Whereas Uncle Ben was this paragon of virtue, Aaron is a lot more of a gray area. He's a thief. He's a robber. Miles has a dad, but Aaron is a huge factor and a huge impact in his life. He's very prevalent. Miles looks up to him. And so I think Aaron sort of forces him to look at social and ideas and the law and justice in a certain way, and he challenges his nephew. We haven't seen a dynamic like that in a comic book movie, and I think Eddie Murphy would just kill it as like just this really charming guy who, you know, that charming uncle who a kid would immediately look up to, that on one hand can be like, yeah, I love you. Also, go steal a pack of cigarettes for me, and you'll just be like, yeah, anything, I just want your approval. I think that would be so cool to see him in. So, Aaron Morales.
All right, fight it out, guys.
So interestingly, in 2008, right after the Dreamgirls nomination, there was a rumor that Eddie Murphy was going to play the Riddler in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight Rises, and people freaked out and they were like, no, that's the worst idea ever. And I think that the fan upheaval was that he didn't fit the part. And I don't think it's about what you're saying about Jim Carrey, but I think everything you're saying about the character is the reason that I would want to see him play the Joker. The duality, the two sides, the comic timing. And as the Riddler always skews a little bit, I think, a little bit more shticky. That's why Jim Carrey's version of it was so iconic, and that's why it hasn't. Did you say abortions?
I said and abortions.
I thought you said abortion. I was like, what abortion? What deleted scene?
It was an abortion.
What deleted scene did I miss from this movie?
That's the Jared Leto Joker, which leads more into that. I like the idea of him being Aaron Morales, but the same thing is what you're saying about the gray area. I think the gray area is where the Joker lives, and we need a great Heath Ledger style Joker, and that's why you need an incredible comedian who has the darkness.
I see zero duality in the Joker. The Joker's the Joker.
He's the Joker. There's no duality.
He's not like, hey, I'm Hank. I'm the Joker. Like, there's no duality in the Joker.
The Joker doesn't part-time work at Jack in the Box, then shoots people at night. That's not happening.
There's no duality. There's no gray area.
There is a gray area.
There's never been a gray area with the Joker.
That's why the character is less interesting. When there is gray area, that's when the character works.
But there's never been one with the Joker.
What was the gray area in Heath Ledger's Joker?
Please tell me. What gray area?
In Heath Ledger's Joker, the gray area was the guy who was able to both be constrained and also go to the super crazy side.
That was him always, though. That's what a true psychopath is.
But
they're constrained at a point.
No, but Leto's Joker was just fucking nuts.
Leto's Joker wasn't even a Joker. That was a damn gangster with green hair. That was not the Joker.
Yeah, get out of here.
Suck it, Joker.
Let us please
You're a Gortian.
Let us please quit acknowledging that as the Joker. That was not the Joker.
Okay, Ledger's Joker, the moment where he's leaning his head out of the car and he's like feeling the wind in his face after he's been...
That's not a multiple character thing.
That is
furthermore, you've already disqualified this character just with the laugh. Even if you had nailed Eddie Murphy's laugh. Eddie Murphy's laugh is not the Joker. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that?
I'm gonna kill you, Batman.
How about a magic trick? Now that this is a two-person fight,
sounds great. Ian, you would want this. How good would that be?
I want to qualify this question because
can we just make sure that gets into the 100 moments? Hashtag movie fights 100. That's an example.
I'm going to trust an actor to know what they're going to be good at and what they want to do. And he said he doesn't want this role to be bullshit. And when I think of bullshit, I think of Jim Carrey's Riddler. And he said he wants to play an older, authoritative character. That's Aaron Morales. That's
I get that.
Absolutely
but
perfect
again, now when you say duality in roles, that's the perfect
I didn't
example.
Say that. Sasha said that. That's why she's not in the fight anymore.
I'm pointing to Sasha. But when you say duality in roles, that's the perfect example for the Riddler. And we brought up the Norbit character, even though the abomination it was as a whole. But can you imagine taking the Norbit type of character to being Edward Nygma, to working in the office, to the translation of being Eddie Murphy just wild and outlandish, then becoming the Riddler? I've used Jim Carrey because of the comedic timing he had.
Sure.
Granted, the character with the hair and all that looked horrible.
Sure.
But Eddie Murphy could play this character. He's done different roles. He's never done a superhero. Again, a superhero role, whether it's the hero or the villain, would be perfect for Eddie Murphy. We've never seen him go really gritty in a character. We've never seen him go dark in a character.
Hold on. I'm establishing something I've never done before. Jay and Joe, you just established a knockout. When two players can knock a player out like that, Sasha, you're out.
No! I'm not done!
We need to make a graphic. No, this is going to be an ongoing play.
No!
That is the movie fights knockout first.
That's everything he said!
They killed you. That was fantastic. And I think
Eddie Murphy! Eddie Murphy landed on us!
I didn't want to waste too much more time because let's really get this to Jay versus Joe.
Here's what I would say about the Joker.
So congratulations, you just established a new thing. I just wanted to announce that. So Sasha, thank you. You're already on the board anyway, but Jay and Joe, now it's between you two. Go ahead.
Here's the thing with what you're saying about the Riddler. That sort of that that extra bit of just like evil, gross stank Eddie can switch on, and you can hate him. Like he can get creepy, and that's why I like him as Aaron Morales.
First
this
of all,
guy
we would have to
That's
establish
so
Miles
cool.
Morales, and they've never even come close to doing that. So that would eliminate Aaron Morales altogether.
Oh, you didn't tell me to do Kevin Feige's job. You just told me to say what cool character Eddie Murphy would be in a comic book movie, and I'm saying.
But you would need somebody to balance off of, right?
Sure.
And again, I use it where picture him against Ben Affleck as Batman. A lot of people had a lot of reservations about it at first when you heard Ben Affleck would be Batman.
I mean, picture Eddie Murphy against Donald Glover or a kid that is the lead in the Get Down. Can you check his name for me, Dan?
Yeah,
Kid
the guy-
who's the lead in the Get Down.
That kid's incredible.
Yeah.
Shanique Moore.
You know, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
If you
From
want
Dope,
to,
same guy?
Yeah.
no, not him. The main kid, Books. Who's amazing, also amazing. He's great. The dude from Dope's awesome. But like, I think we're arguing the same reasons why we think they'd be cool as the character. But I just think I'm arguing the more interesting choice for the guy. And I would listen to Eddie Murphy's own instincts and what he thinks he could knock out of the park in a superhero movie, and that's an older guy, an authoritative guy, a completely non-bullshit guy. I don't think the Riddler's bullshit, but I think Eddie Murphy would be like, how many question marks you want me to put on that suit?
I believe they would change that for him. I believe, honestly, they would change it.
You're trying to change source material now, Jay?
They change source material all the goddamn time.
Change it how? Yeah, what do you...
Again, you don't need a million question marks. A couple. 3 or 4, maybe 5 at the most. You don't need a million. You don't need that question mark every single place like we had in Jim Carrey's suit. But he could change that and make it a minimal amount. We know it's the Riddler. We know it's what he does. Again, you're talking about a man who's known for playing multiple characters with multiple personalities. The Riddler is an epitome of that, not the Joker. Stop.
Joker have-
No, stop.
I think at the end of it, like we've seen the Riddler, and I think no matter kind of what you do, we've seen the Riddler. We've never seen like a young superhero whose mentor character, the evil influence in him isn't a Norman Osborn, like, oh, an evil CEO. Oh, this intern has promise. His uncle, his own family, is the guy who's just screwing up his moral compass. I think that's cool. I don't think we've really seen something like that.
Okay, final thought that I heard it.
That is the
something
final
we haven't
thought.
seen. What's your final thought? Why is that better than what he's pitching me?
You're talking about a comedic legend and a character that hasn't been done perfectly since the original in the Batman series with Frank Gorson. Hasn't been done.
Did you
say? I can't remember his last Gorson. Excuse me. Pardon me.
You didn't say abortion. That's all.
I didn't say abortion, unlike you earlier. But we haven't seen that. Jim Carrey's, he was the Riddler. Again, we didn't like the character as a whole, but because of who he was as a comedian, we knew he could play it. Eddie Murphy would epitomize his character.
All right, Dan.
Yes. Well, in the comic books, Aaron Davis is Miles Morales' uncle, and he was a burglar. Through his actions, he was the one that got Miles Morales exposed to the spider, which bit him to become Spider-Man. Not a good dude. Not a very good dude. It is part of his origin story, though. Eddie Murphy's average Rotten Tomato score since Norbit is 29%. But Dreamgirls actually came out before Norbit. He wasn't doing that to try to get out of the Norbit curse. But a lot of people think that Norbit might have cost him the Oscar for Dreamgirls because he was on the billboards as Norbit during that Oscar campaign. Mr. Church, which apparently came out last week, sits at 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. And Eddie Murphy's actual quote was, "I would do a superhero movie if it was funny, and we were making fun of superhero movies, and I figured out how to do something funny." He went on to say that he thought he would look ridiculous as an actual superhero.
All right, and we have a poll.
We do have a poll on at Screen Junkies on Twitter, and it's very close between two options.
Is it between the Joker and the Riddler?
And I will let you know how it's looking after you make your ruling.
I mean, that was a good use of creating the knockout, right, Dan?
I don't think so.
Shaking his head.
I have to say, as a fighter who I feel has been on the ropes before and had to fight my way back, I don't know. I gotta warm up to it.
All right.
I think you might have knocked out Sequest too a little early way back when.
Yeah, maybe. It's a good point. Well, it's a new strategy. I like
It's a new strategy.
Two people could team up to knock someone out if they're saying good things.
That's true.
Makes the game interesting. Ian, you like that?
Yeah, I'm just glad I got to witness history.
Based on these pitches, based on the arguments and their pitches, I really liked the both of them, to be perfectly honest. I think Eddie could bring something interesting to both Riddler and Aaron Morales. I just needed to hear a little bit more specifics from you, Jay. I got a little bit more outside the box thinking with Joe that I think that is an interesting thing to do. Hey, I love you, dude. Let's go rob that thing. So it stuck with me, and I couldn't hear it. I was close, but Joe gets the point. Just in, I think, a really creative choice there.
That was a really
Come on,
good
you
choice.
watch that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would, but I don't want to admit it at first.
As soon as you said it, I was like,
That was
that's a
pretty
great
good. You were
answer.
close. It was you're
a very good answer.
Up against some good people here, Jay. Keep it up, because it's not over yet.
Look at poor Cat.
And it is there's a narrow winner on our Screen Junkies poll. 10% said the Joker. Sorry, Sasha.
That's my book of Eli.
But the winner, 47 to 43% based on our Twitter poll. Very close, the Riddler.
Ooh, there you go. Well, you got the viewers vote.
I got the viewers vote. Thank you.
People's champ. Most
Thank
people,
you, people. I
people's
appreciate
champ
it.
matters more than mine. Anyway, what do I know? All right, round 3. We got a bunch of clips. We didn't get a trailer. We got a bunch of 11-second clips for Ghost in the Shell. So hopefully, I don't know what that means. But we got some 5 clips to pick from. And so we wanted to go through them and ask you guys, what do we think of this movie overall based on what we're getting? Use one of these clips in your argument and tell me, is this movie going to be good, great, or awful? What do we think? I know there's a lot of controversy on this movie. There's been a lot of discussion about it, but let's talk about it. Is there a chance, now that you see what we got, that this could be great, good, or awful? And Jay, you're starting us off.
I personally did not like these. I felt like they were trying to remind us that, oh yeah, remember everybody's supposed to be pissed off at Scarlett Johansson for playing this character because the controversy behind it. You cast a white woman to play an Asian character. And you just tried to tease people a little bit with various clips. Hey, here's a little bit here, here's a little bit here, here's a little bit here, here's a little bit there. But remember, Scarlett Johansson is in it. Also, they had to sell the fact that Scarlett Johansson again can be a main character, and hopefully it can work. We had the flop with Lucy. Nobody cared about that, and she had a big supporting cast. It looked like, when I watched a couple of scenes of the trailer, for me, it looked like a hybrid of a dream sequence from Inception and a mixture of The Matrix. I didn't know what was fully going on, and if you've never seen or knew of the concept of Ghost in the Shell, you wouldn't either. You would either have to say, I'm either going to watch this or I'm not. You're going to have to look at it and say, I'm going to follow Scarlett Johansson, and hopefully I'm going to enjoy this movie, or you're just going to go, I'm not with it. Now, as a comic, for me personally, there was a scene with the dude that looked like Heihachi from Tekken. And he had the worst looking face mask on in history. Yes, that face does not look real. Doesn't look real. But,
But what if it is?
Is it real?
if it is, whatever.
Poor guy.
If it is,
Poor guy.
Poor guy. But your DNA sucks. But for me, things I saw in those clips at that time I saw it didn't sell me on this. I thought it was god-awful personally. I don't think I would be so inclined to go run and go see this film. I don't know as many people that are going to go see this film when they just to say, oh, it's Scarlett Johansson. How many people ran and saw Lucy? Not a lot. Are people looking forward to a Black Widow solo film? Not at all. Not many are. Because in order for her, I get it. I get it. But in order for her to have a solo film, she needs all the backing. Okay.
All right,
That's
she's
not the
bursting.
fight.
She's bursting.
We'll come back. All right.
We'll come back.
So you're picking God Awful
picking
based
God
off
Awful.
that clip with the dude in apparently a mask, or maybe a real face that looks like a mask.
The scene that looks like everybody's plugged into the Matrix. The other scene where you have the white woman who's supposed to be Asian, Scarlett Johansson, talking to the black girl with the British accent. I mean, I just didn't like
What's
it.
the one scene you're picking?
The dude would look like Heihachi from Tekken.
Okay. Joe.
I don't know what footage you were watching, because I think this movie, based on the footage, looks completely radical.
You were busting at the seams to say that.
Let's roll this clip. All right.
Oh, look, it's a still image.
That's a clip. That's
Still.
Let's roll this still image. Let me set up.
She's walking forward.
Let me set up the scene for you guys. And here's the thing: these aren't supposed to like be like, oh, that's what this movie. These are supposed to tease you. They're supposed to make you ask questions. There's so much tension in this scene as she marches forward, and she's like, "What's going on?" You hear these weird sounds in the background. What is this? What is this weird aliens-looking xenomorph hallway? What is this place? Then she walks into this weird place where all these Buddhas are plugged in. To a lot of people have never seen imagery like this, and they're like, "What the hell is this movie?" And a lot of people have seen imagery like this. I have, but you said it yourself. you just called it Inception, Matrix, Blade Runner, and I'm in. That sells me. You want to cram all this crap into one movie, and you put Scarlett Johansson as the lead, a lady who it's about time she was on a major studio Disney blockbuster, just based on that one still image. I think this movie looks badass.
All right, Sasha.
Okay, so I think it looks good. I'm kind of torn between two worlds because on one hand, I care about the controversy, but at least it wasn't Margot Robbie, and it could have been Margot Robbie, and that would have been awful. I think that the visuals look dope, and it's from the dude who did Snow White and the Huntsman, and we had that amazing like shard army. And the thing that was good about Snow White and the Huntsman were the visuals. What was bad about Snow White and the Huntsman was the story. But this has the dude who wrote Straight Outta Compton and also another guy. Oh man, I'm blanking right now on what the other thing was. I'll find it when we're doing more stuff. But there was one image that I thought was incredibly cool. I actually liked the monks all sitting around plugged
words
in.
like incredible and great. I love this.
There was a shot of her. Roll the shot. This creepy geisha robot lady situation is enough for me to say yes, please, and thank you. I think that this looks, like you said, Blade Runner, new generation, creepy, cool. I like the subversive world. The fact that they also paired it with Mr. Robot, that I watched all of these during a Mr. Robot finale, makes perfect sense. If that's what they're going for, I think it looks good. I'm in.
Are we fighting?
Yes.
All right. We're fighting. It's like you said, Do the Road Straight Outta Compton's writing. It's based on incredible source material. Ghost in the Shell is awesome. It's like the first anime I saw when I was a kid, and I was like, they make cartoons like this? And it kind of changed my life. I think this is going to be really cool, even just based on your all's clips.
But again, you're going through you are a fan of it already. You have to look. I'm looking at it from the perception of petite people. I was not that familiar with Ghost in the Shell. I'm not going to lie. But you have a lot of people who aren't. Granted, there's a new generation who's all about anime, who know now from Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, and then they're going backwards.
But if you're not into it, then you're like, what was that? I want to see this movie.
Jay, is that what you were thinking?
Pretty much. You got basically what I'm thinking. That doesn't sell me. That doesn't sell me.
Wait, so you were a fan or were not a fan?
I was not a fan of the
No, when you were watching it, you weren't saying, oh man, I love this.
No, I wasn't saying that. I wasn't saying that at all.
Okay,
Weird
so
Japanese dude with Wolverine hair didn't sell you?
Again, no, I didn't. Keep telling you the Tekken dude did not sell me.
I've read none of Ghost in the Shell. I keep calling it Ghost in the Machine. I do not know Ghost in the Shell. This to me looked dope. This to me made me want to sit down and watch something because I think that Rupert Sanders is an interesting director. And you're super wrong, by the way, about Lucy. Lucy was incredibly successful. It had a low budget and ended up making a lot of money. And what this reminded me of...
Scarlett Johansson. You have movies like that are going to make money because people are just going to go see it because of the fact.
No, but you said it was a flop, which isn't true. This reminded me of a movie that wasn't as successful but was very interesting and cool, and that was when she did Under the Skin, which was weird and subversive and bizarre. And if that's what they bring to this, then I think it could be really great. But here's the thing that makes me not say it's great, which is Snow White and the Huntsman fucking sucked. It was a terrible movie. I shouldn't say that because we show it on FX. I apologize, bosses. But it's a terrible movie. You didn't say that. Do not go with that on YouTube. But
it's already out there.
I know.
It's not going nowhere.
Stop making it a big deal. Otherwise they'll make it.
That's the thing. That's the thing that actually really concerns me. And the other thing that bothers me is the scene that you talked about with her sitting with the black girl and like she goes, "What are you?" And suddenly it became like the worst version of Luc Besson, like the new version of Luc Besson, as opposed to the cool Fifth Element version of Luc Besson. And I was like, oh God, is this just going to be a bunch of models walking around, and is it just going to be weird audio? So that's why I'm torn.
So you're saying good.
I'm saying good.
You're saying great, and you're saying no. Okay.
I'm saying no.
So here, I want to go back around, and I really need to hear a little bit more, something else here. Why? I've heard all your first starts. Give me one more. Why is this going to be great, Joe?
Look, I love... this stuff's supposed to make us ask questions as an audience. And when we get this great shot of Scarlett Johansson coming down this hallway, eyes straight ahead, she looks freaked out. We're immediately like, what's going on with Scarlett Johansson? Like, what is she going towards? Like, it just is and then that reveal of just, well, this doesn't tell me anything. I just have a million more questions. What the hell is going on in this movie? I haven't seen anything like this. It just looks really, really cool. Like, way beyond what I thought it was going to look like. So, yeah, I think it looks great.
Jay.
You have to captivate fans with teasers like that. Those who've never seen products like that, those who don't know where it came from, those who don't know the source material. You have to captivate it. It has to look different. We've seen movies like this. What makes it different than anything else?
Name 6.
Give me time. But you have to...
We'll give you time.
Damn it. Shouldn't have said that out loud. But you have to captivate people who've never seen anime, who don't know anime can be translated into live action. And don't just look at it, oh, this is another Matrix again. I get it. There are people who love Blade Runner, who love Matrix, who love the Inception movies. They love them all together. But if they're not familiar with those either, if they're just familiar with the Matrix, they see the plugs. You see the Buddha-looking thing sitting there, and you're like, oh, is this going to be like that? You see, again, like Sasha said, is this just going to be a bunch of models walking around? But then you see the geisha-looking thing. You're like, I don't know. Some people are not familiar with it. So I don't think it would connect with everybody. I'm going awful.
All right, well, you already named 3 movies. Give me 3 more while we're waiting. Go ahead, Sasha.
So I think that the possibility here is great because I'm not a fan of the source material, and yet I was totally sucked in by the sound that they chose to use, the way they use tone, the way they use color, the way they use chiaroscuro and effects. I thought that looked really beautiful. I think that you've got bold visual sense, which I think is great because we know Rupert Sanders can do that. I just need to know that there's going to be a story because when you rely too heavily on IP, you can service fans and you can lose primary audience. I think that Scarlett Johansson desperately deserves to have her own franchise. I think Lucy could have been a franchise. I hope that this is something that goes on and isn't an Eon Flux, but because we don't really know and they didn't give us a lot, I'm still not 100% and I can't say great, but I can say I'm holding out hope.
Don't make him do that movie thing. I just screwed around with him.
I'm messing.
I got 2.
Oh, okay.
Running Man and Minority Report.
Okay, there you
go.
See? Look at that. That helped him. All right. Dan.
Yes. Jay, I apologize in advance. Lucy made $106 million domestically for a global gross of $463 million.
It made a ton of money.
Off of a $40 million budget.
Yeah. I wrote flop in quotes. I wrote flop in quotes, and I'm like, yeah, you're wrong.
Jonathan Herman is the man who wrote Straight Outta Compton. The co-writer is Jamie Moss, who wrote Street Kings, starring Forrest Whitaker.
She finally gets that Street King callback, right?
The Russo brothers, Joss Whedon and Kevin Feige, have all voiced support for a Black Widow solo movie. And this summer, USA Today polled 1,000 moviegoers asking which Avenger they would like to see have their own solo movie. 48% chose Black Widow as the Avenger they'd like to see.
Was that the highest one?
That was by far the highest of all the Avengers.
I guess, yeah, you'd have
that haven't had a
52%.
The next one was like Vision with like 12%. So
Paul Bettany
really on the list.
Paul Bettany walking through walls for an hour and a half.
It is not sold.
Was there anyone else good on the list?
Hey, listen, I'm going with what the poll says. Falcon's good.
Yeah.
War Machine. Yeah, you know.
Y'all just hate Don Cheadle.
I don't know if I want a whole movie with him.
I'm just saying that I think that to say that no one is. I'm only fact checking the statement that nobody is excited.
Okay.
And by the way, a lot of fans on Twitter disagree with that statement as well. That they are excited for a Black Widow solo movie.
Yeah. Will she be her own again? You'd have to have all this cap, all the. If I get a Black Widow solo movie, I want a Black Widow solo movie based on her. I don't need all the Avengers guest starring. Let it be her. That's not gonna happen, unfortunately.
Well, Kevin Feige has said that they are developing a Black Widow solo movie, and the Russo brothers and Joss Whedon have both said they would love to direct it.
Yay!
Wow. All right, there you go.
All right. Love y'all fans watching everything.
So, Joe, I feel like you just. I don't know. You just didn't give me that reason. This looks awesome. And so I didn't get a lot from you.
I didn't sound convincing?
It looks cool. It's a hard fight, to be fair. And then Jay, you make a good point. We've seen a lot of this before. Inception, Matrix, Blade Runner. You did make that point. And then Sasha, you did have some good reasons to be in the middle. This could be the worst version of Luc Besson, although Shades of Under the Skin could be really cool in this place. So you need to see more of the story. This is tough. That was a genuine, this is tough. Those are rare these days. Based on those arguments and that reasoning, I got to give the edge to Sasha a little bit. I heard a little bit more specifics from her. I was rooting for Jay. I was trying to do it. I just thought, there's probably some more. I just needed to hear a little bit more. Sasha peppered it. She's really good at getting those out quick.
This movie's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
What?
This movie's gonna be real bad.
Yeah, well, that's why you were faking your argument, right? Did you flip a coin or something? I could tell. You were. That's why you were.
By the way, Twitter could tell that as well.
I can tell. And so my problem is that there was so much more I feel like Jay could have said that he didn't of why this movie's gonna
I
be
think
bad.
it could be interesting.
So that I got it. Sadly,
But you're
based on
believing in
arguments,
Scarlett Johansson,
I was
which is
hoping
no
one of-
problem.
I hate
Yeah.
giving the middle one, but Sasha gets it because who knows?
Our Twitter poll: 47% voted good, 39% voted awful, 14% voted.
Because
great.
I see, I didn't know this, but it looked like you lost a coin toss or something.
Yeah, I just picked it. I knew it was last minute, so I was just like, you know what? If I say good or bad, we're just gonna have to argue over it. So I'm just gonna say it looks amazing.
All right. Well, let's talk after
Constance Wu should be playing
Yeah,
that
you
role.
didn't go there. Let's talk about an after the fight, shall we,
Yeah.
Joe? You'll hear Joe's true feelings and his hatred towards Ghost in the Shell.
Constance Wu is so beautiful.
Here we go. Number 4. Mission Impossible 6 is finally a go. Tom Cruise was holding out for some money, so I read.
Because he
Apparently
needs more.
Because he needs more
Hey,
money.
he's got a team that can get him the money. Get the money, right?
Sure.
He deserves it. This is franchise he is good in.
He needs his own Scientology church.
So he's back, and we wanted you guys to pitch it. What should Mission 6? What should happen? How do we get this different, new? What's going to get us back excited? The plots sort of are always the same. How do we reinvigorate this franchise? And we're starting with you, Joe.
So we're sort of we're wrapping up the second trilogy, I guess, of Mission Impossible movies. We did the first 3. The first one was, that great, just super simple blockbuster Tom Cruise vehicle. The second one was a Limp Bizkit music video. And then there was the third Mission Impossible, which is my favorite Mission Impossible movie. I love Mission Impossible 3. It is an incredibly intimate film. It has personal stakes for Ethan because his wife's getting kidnapped.
Yeah.
They really scale it back. Philip Seymour Hoffman's incredible
Yes, he is.
as the villain in that movie. Oh my God,
That scene in the plane, Ethan. Yeah, he gets the
so
name
good.
out.
So the second trilogy has really kind of upped the action, really upped the spectacle of these movies. He climbed the big tower and he rode on a plane, and they're really just sort of playing a game of what can Tom do now? And I want to pump the brakes on that, and I want to get the feeling of Mission Impossible 3 back. So we're going to do a kidnapping story because much like George Lucas, I like synergy and I like structure in my films. It's like a poem. It's like a stanza. But instead of Ethan's wife getting kidnapped, we turn the tables. Ethan is kidnapped. The only person that can rescue him is Elsa Faust from the last movie. It's a natural evolution for that character. She was already this badass supporting role that was not a love interest or something hacky like that. There's so much mystery to the character. There's so much more that you can tell about her. So I think this is the next natural step. You continue evolving the relationship between those two and what they mean to each other. And I don't mean like a romantic or sexual thing. You just, that connection, that friendship, whatever it is. We learn more about that character. We've learned all we really need to learn about Ethan. So we take him off the table for a lot of it and just put him through the ringer so that we as an audience are reminded why we like Ethan so much. He's taken away. We have to get him back. Mission Impossible 6.
All right, that's good, but I really want to know what Tom's going to do now, so I'll come back to you for that. Get it? I'm joking. Sasha.
All right. I'm calling this one. This wouldn't actually be the title, but the subtitle is Mission Impossible 6. 2 assassins and a baby. Interestingly, Joe and I seem to have some synergy because there's also a kidnapping. The movie starts, we've got Ilsa and Ethan. Their relationship has evolved. They are now a couple. They are married. They have a child. They're living in Vermont, a quiet life. There's maple syrup, and they fucking hate it. They're ready to kill themselves. Well, they don't have to because here comes a Middle Eastern terror group who kidnaps their child, and they now have to go back to try to get their child back. It brings them back into MI5, or MIF, sorry. And what they eventually find out is that the person who is leading this terror group is that bitch Julia. Julie ain't dead. Julia's alive. Julia's pissed that he went off with Elsa. Michelle Moynihan from 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
So what they have to do now is they have to bring that baby back to their life, and it's kind of Mr. and Mrs. Smith meets Mission Impossible. It's what you said you want, Joe. It's more intimate. It's more about the relationships. But you also have great action set pieces, and who doesn't care about a baby? Well, me. But
I don't care about him.
I kind of now want to hear, what's your big Tom Cruise stunt piece? Yeah, I know Joe doesn't want to do it, but now I'm going to want to hear all three of you pitch one. So think about it.
Big stunt piece.
Yeah, what's Tom Cruise hanging off of in this movie? just because Joe said he doesn't want it. Now I want to hear all three of you pitch it. But you can say, we'll come back to yours, Jay. But what's your main pitch?
It's basically what every single Mission Impossible has been. It's an agent who's been exposed by the government for doing their dirty work over and over again, once again has to do the job for them. Again. Because that's what every single Mission Impossible movie has been. Ethan Hunt has had to do a job for the government, and they tell him, well, you'll be disavowed in your team, blah, 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 blah. First one, we had the situation with John Voight, where they put Ethan and his parents, or aunt, uncle, whoever it was, on blast. The second one, the Limp Bizkit video, went through all that in Sydney. The third one, we went through it again when he lost the agent that he had helped train.
Terry Russell, yeah.
Terry Russell, before he lost her. Went through it in 4 and 5, and then we started getting Jeremy Renner. We keep going through this. Ethan Hunt's doing the government's job, and he's labeled a terrorist. Then he has to be, brought back in. We didn't mean he was a terrorist. Basically, this movie is going to be the same thing to the point where Ethan Hunt just says, I quit for real. I quit or kill me. That's it.
All right. That's a good sell.
Because what are we going to keep...
All right, well, you got to sell me on this movie. It sounds like I've seen it before, so let's come around. If you got a set piece or something else to tell me, go ahead.
I got a set piece.
Joe, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I think it's weird that the one lady on the panel was like, that cool character should immediately be pregnant and live in Vermont.
No, she already had the baby.
No. Seriously, are you Mike Carlson in a cockroach costume? Because this is a weird movie fights pitch. It's Mission Impossible with a baby. Andy graduated me to serious movie fights. Bring me a serious movie fights pitch, Sasha Pearl Raver. You brought in a baby? You brought in a Judith? Oh my God, you brought in a Judith.
Joe, Brad and Angie had me like, whoa, I want this to be Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
You really did not grade of all them kids.
But via Mission Impossible. And listen, you're sitting here talking smack about my idea. You said, let's take him off the table. Let's take Ethan Hunt off the table. Because that's what Mission Impossible needs. Less Ethan Hunt. That's a terrible idea. Then you end
He's
up...
present. He's just being put through the ringer. He's kidnapped. He's getting tortured. He's being interrogated.
He'll get out in one scene if he's kidnapped. That's always happened. That doesn't make any sense. What I'm saying is, you said raise the personal stakes, and I'm like, yes, give that man a wife.
Oh, and
give
you
that
went
man a
baby.
child.
You
yes.
went baby.
What do you? Okay, he could also have 2 dogs and a kitten. So there's all kinds of stakes.
Look,
but you want a set piece? I got a set piece for you, Andy.
All right,
ready?
I expect a set piece from all of you.
Here's what happens. We're basically going to have multiple Hindenburgs. We're going to have 4 blimps, the Goodyear, so we also get some marketing dollars in, and they are going to be, because you know how there's that dangly...
Sure, Goodyear wants to see their blimp explode.
Well, no, theirs wouldn't explode. Theirs would be the off-brand one that explodes. But you know how there's that little tie down at the bottom of the blimp? You got people swinging from that, climbing up. Then the blimps are flying together side by side.
So it's a blimp race?
No, they're
fighting.
Why
are there 4 blimps?
They're fighting on top of the blimps, and one blimp gets shot out of the sky and burns, and we have the Hindenburg. That's the off-brand
So the
blimp.
Rocketeer?
Kind of.
Well, you promised me 4 Hindenburgs. How are you delivering that?
Okay, so one of them, they all take off. They're circling a stadium. There's a big sporting event.
Okay, got it.
So it's like a Super Bowl-y situation.
Okay. Right, so they're like Goodyear style, just promotion.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're all
Someone's
around.
hijacked them.
There's going to be a, what's when they spray the...
There's probably like a
chemical gas, like a nerve gas situation.
Probably like a USB stick or something he's got to get off one of them, right?
No, there's going to be nerve gas that's going to get like thrown out over New York City or Chicago
that's
or
why
something.
He's up there. Okay, got it.
So they're up in the blimp, and Ethan Hunt is hanging by that tether that always dangles down
climbing
below.
Up the blimp.
Climbing up, and then on the other blimp, there's somebody else who's also trying to do the same thing, probably Simon Pegg, but Simon Pegg screws it up. Somebody else in the other blimp sees him. They start shooting at him.
Right.
One of the blimps gets shot out of the sky, and then pretty soon you have it's like that scene in it's like that thing on...
It's like a blimp off.
Yeah, but they jump from blimp to blimp too, like in that terrible show on ABC.
Wipeout.
Yes.
Where's I know those balls well.
Where's the shitty baby I don't care about on these blimps?
It's kidnapped!
Yeah, where's the baby in a Bjorn?
No, it's kidnapped!
Oh, that's right.
Blimp Bjorn!
Oh, and I will say, you want to know who's on diaper duty? Ving Rhames.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you're pulling a Ninja Turtles 3 where Casey Jones just took care of those dudes the whole time?
The dudes from Japan.
Jay, you got a set piece?
Yes. Ving Rhames gets shot somehow. He's supposed to be driving the getaway van. Well, the car that they need, there's a car with the bomb in it. It's one of those compact chemical warfare bombs. But he has to drive across the Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge is exploding as he's driving, and the timer on the bomb is going down. But the bridge is blown out at the end. He lets the car jump over the bridge. He jumps out of the driver's seat. He goes and dives another way. The car explodes. We see it from an angle, looking up, and it's a blaze of glory.
But that's Fast and Furious, not
Y'all.
Mission Impossible.
Joe,
With
you
Ethan
got a set
Hunt.
piece?
These Ethan Hunt set pieces, the cool thing about them are they're things that Tom does, and Tom Cruise ain't gonna run across 4 exploding blimps.
Yes,
and do
he
it.
is.
No, he's
Yes,
not.
he is.
So here you
And
go.
then he'll
And also,
parachute.
here's the thing about my set pieces. Tom's not going to be around forever. He lost, no matter what power Xena's pumping into him, he's not immortal. He's going to have to step aside for this franchise at some point. I feel like they are training up Ilsa's character to
Take over everything.
yeah. And so remember that Red Bull satellite jump that everyone lost their minds about, where dude had the little camera? That's it. Main bad guy pushes a tied up Tom Cruise off of that thing, and she's got to jump off and go after him. He's not going to run across exploding blimps, but I think Tom Cruise would do that. It ups the airplane. It
he's
ups the.
falling off. The other one's trying to catch him.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is
Do
falling
you
through
remember
space.
how boring that was? That
Him
thing
falling
was like
through
18
space.
minutes long.
Yeah,
and
we
it
watched
was
dude
so
fall and no one cared.
boring.
Do you remember when it was just one camera? You're gonna have
still-
multiple cameras
and
around
it
this
was
thing.
all slow.
2 people
It was
falling through the
so-
sky trying to catch each other. They got nothing.
That's Point Break, bro.
Oh, you're saying it's really
Right.
him.
Yeah.
That's
He's
Point
saying it's
Break.
really him.
It's
Right.
really
Yeah, it's not a bunch of
It's
too
a terrible
short.
idea.
It's not a bunch of
It's too
CG
short to be
blimps.
Bad.
Dan?
It's too short. I want to
Crazy fight.
little
Stupid
dude
turned into a weird
Stupid
fight.
baby.
Did. I mean,
Bring the baby.
the smart money would have been on it as a James Bond fan, and a lot of people on Twitter pointed out MI6 would be about the IMF facing off against MI6 and James Bond. That would have
been smart.
So much fun.
Shit.
But I'm not playing, so it doesn't matter what I think. The big thing would be that these would not only have to be blimps, but apparently hydrogen blimps, which have been disused since the 1930s, precisely because of their explosive capability.
You heard him, Sasha.
longer do
No
that anymore.
ticket.
Smart. That's really smart.
They smartly switched to helium
Science doesn't know.
to lift their airships. But that's not saying there couldn't be a reason why.
4
Again,
exploding blips.
What year are we in?
Jesus.
I just
Tom
want
The
to-
Cruise.
Rocketeer?
I just want
Tom Cruise travels back to the 30s.
Timeless, that's right.
Tom Cruise
any
goes
good?
back to the 30s.
No, damn. All right.
yeah. Anyway, also Andy, many people noting that your statement of "I know those balls well" is a great quotation from today's movie fight.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, I mean I don't know how you fact check that, so there you go.
I mean, Joe gets the point.
Okay.
Okay, let's just get
Jay didn't even try.
Oh my god, my face.
And Sasha added a baby. That was awful.
Listen, I had a much better pitch for something else, and then this was like my last ditch.
All right, well, you're still on the board. I think,
thank
Jay,
God.
you can't win.
I know I can't win.
So, but hey, you can still get a point for bragging rights.
I almost
You
put
did.
mine in Dubai.
Round 5.
Didn't they do Dubai or something like that
That's
already?
in
Since things are
Fast and
getting
Furious.
weird, let's go weird. We'll do this one quick because this is a weird one. So the Twitter poll will help. What did we do a Twitter poll last round?
Well, we did. They're so hard to tell. They
Yeah.
were all pretty much even.
All right.
39% voted Ethan gets kidnapped. 33% normal MI, but Ethan quits. 28% voted for 2 assassins and a baby.
All right, Jurassic World 2 has a rumored budget of $260 million. That's a lot of money that could be used for so many things, but no, it's going to be used for a second.
So many things.
Instead, we're getting a Jurassic World 2, which we'll probably pay and give it $1 billion. So
Yep.
that's why it gets that kind of money. So we want you guys to pitch a movie that actually deserves a $260 million or more budget. Pitch me a movie. It could be something that exists, something that doesn't exist, sequel to something that doesn't exist. What's a movie that deserves that kind of price tag that we're all going to go buy? Sasha, you're first.
Simple pitch. It's Deadpool 2. Deadpool, but with more money.
Is that the poster?
That is, yeah. I mean, that they had such a small budget to do the first film. Imagine what they can do if they were given unlimited resources. We could actually get some of the X-Men that they joked about having. They could afford to pay for a cameo for, a little Wolverine action. And here's why it actually makes sense, though. I'm gonna get into some math. Okay, let's say.
she did write down
I wrote some
numbers.
stuff down.
Jesus.
Most sequels of successful movies have somewhere between an 18 and a 37% jump when they come out with the second film. The first film made $782.6 million plus $75.8 million on DVD and Blu-ray. So let's just say we give it $260 million. Right now, on the low end, if they got an 18% bump, they would make $922.7 million. So already you've made your money plus $700 million. If they are on the higher end and it's 37%, they make $1 billion plus. So it just makes sense.
We're gonna
or
need to check this.
they could be like a Terminator 2, which had a 434% jump. Imagine what would happen if we had Deadpool with an unlimited budget, and they would make their money back. Math.
Math was my subject in high
Jay.
school, and I just didn't do those numbers.
What deserves that kind of budget?
For once we get both of these production studios and companies decide to come together and say, look, both of our products are making money, do a one-off, the Avengers versus the Justice League, for all the marbles. You could give Robert Downey Jr. $70 million alone because he's worth it, right? Ben Affleck will be cool as long as he gets producer credit. He'll be cool. He'll be content. And Sam Jackson is content with whatever you give him as long as he's working. So, but you have all those characters. That movie at a $260 million budget would guaranteed crack the $1 billion mark domestically with no problem. It would warrant a two and say, you know what? We did this one time. Let's just, we can stop hating each other for a little bit. Let's do an Avengers versus Justice League, and you get it. $260 million, I would sit there and say, here, make this happen. Granted, there's a lot of rights and who comes out on top and what happens and
who wins.
Who wins? Those are the questions again. But you had those with Freddy versus Jason. That was the biggest argument for the longest of who wins that. Two iconic horror villains. Who becomes on top? Everybody end up seeing Jason on top. Then to the end, you see Freddy still chuckling. So it's like, who's on top? That would be something dealt with in a flip of a coin.
We'll let the writers figure that out.
Let the writers figure that out.
We still want to see the battle. All right, Joe.
So I went with it's a series of books I really like, and I know you're laughing. I don't think this is a weird movie fight thing. I want to see this. There's a series of books called Temeraire. It's an alternate history fantasy series. Basically, it's the Napoleonic War, but dragons exist. It follows the captain in the British Navy. He's paired with a dragon to lead the war against Napoleon. It's basically Master and Commander meets Game of Thrones. It's not just people riding on top of dragons. It's these massive. Not a good mock-up, but the thing in this movie, there's these massive dragons, and they're run like ship crews. There's like huge cabins and baskets and weapons and cannons strapped in. There's these crews that work with them. The captain and the dragon work together. They're awesome books. It'd be huge spectacle. We've never seen anything like that before. Peter Jackson was actually attached to it for a little while, which isn't necessarily in its favor, but I think the reason why it's sat forever is because it's too expensive to make. It would need a price tag like this. I think you want to spend this kind of money, give people something they've never seen before. That that first moment where they see this trailer, they're like, "Holy crap! It's two dragons fighting in the sky while these pirate ship and battleship crews shoot from the undercarriage of the dragon with muskets, and they're awesome, super cool."
I think that was probably one of the nerdiest answers ever. So kudos, good job. It sounds cool.
Hey.
So it sounds cool, but the thing is you're like, give them something they haven't seen before and they don't know. People don't show up for things they don't know anymore. That's sort of the problem. And it sounds a lot actually like Game of Thrones, which is why, I love Game of Thrones, and a big screen version of that would be rad, but I just don't know that would actually make sense. And for you, I actually crunched some numbers with low end, like only giving $10,000 to Scarlett Johansson and $5 million or $10 million and then $5 million to Renner. Mm-hmm. Your cast budget is $153 million, not including paying Sam Jackson or Ben Affleck. And you're not even talking about producer credits or director's fees or special effects.
Credits.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm saying, like, do you think that we could make a superhero movie of this magnitude for $107 million and not pay Ben Affleck or Samuel L. Jackson or any other cast member?
Yo, Goodwill Hunting. Is this all we're going to do this whole fight? It's just throw numbers at each other?
So 72.
Yeah, no. For one thing, the least Game of Thrones sounding thing I can think of is the British Navy fighting the French. That doesn't sound very...
boats and dragons.
Boats sound like Game of Thrones.
Boats and dragons.
Boats and dragons.
So that's completely incorrect. And I'm sorry.
Boats and dragons.
But I don't need Avengers versus Justice League because I've seen so many Marvel and DC movies where good guys fight each other already. They're all just going to yell each other's names at the end of it and then realize that Lex Luthor and, I don't know, little dude from Civil War were working against them the whole time. I don't need to see that movie. I don't want to see that movie.
These movies have grossed, teetered at and grossed nearly about $1 billion each globally, right? Individual movies, the Collective Avengers, the Justice League is automatically, everybody's already said it's scheduled to clock $1 billion. Do you think these actors would not take that back end money that's guaranteed to be made off of a film like that?
I don't think it matters because the thing is I think with those movies, what you end up doing is you're throwing money at something and they're just like, just put everything in there. The reason I think Deadpool should get the money is because they'll use the money creatively. And that's what they proved with the first film.
They proved with the first film that they don't need this money.
They don't need money for this.
But that's why I think it would be so awesome if they had it because then we could see something that goes
because of the
beyond.
character of Deadpool, you don't really need it because of him talking about breaking the fourth wall.
You could have rad music. You could because the soundtrack was good, but it would be even better.
That
you could
lack
get
of money is what made
cameos.
Deadpool.
No,
that's what made it so awesome.
Could you imagine putting more money into it? It would take away the value of what we saw in that first.
It would make it look like Kind of Funny X-Men Apocalypse.
No, they made jokes about how the real X-Men couldn't show up.
Please don't bring that horrible thing up.
I'm sorry I did that to you, Jack. X-Men couldn't show up, but they could actually have the X-Men show up.
You're telling me that's one of the best parts of Deadpool when he's like, "Hey,
the studio
it's like we can't afford these guys."
You're telling me
Deadpool.
You're telling me you put an Avengers and Justice League movie together. You're telling me you couldn't talk these actors into saying, "Here, this is what we're going to give you up front."
No, because they're already rich. They want to be paid. Look, Tom Cruise.
Look, you guys have agency fee fights over there.
Complex. We don't care about that right now. We are talking about you getting Robert Downey Jr.
Napoleon was in yours.
Yeah, Napoleon's in mine. Look, you guys are having a marketing and agent fight over there. I'm on a show called Movie Fights. This
you just want to have boats and dragons. That's all. You just want
who doesn't? But go ahead. Last thoughts.
Thank you. I mean, this is a cool franchise that no one has really seen anything like. This cool, high budget.
How is it
history.
not Game of Thrones? It's because it's French and for real though, I'm just trying.
It's Master of Commander, but instead of ships, it's people manning dragons instead of ships.
But I mean, there are ships in Game of Thrones. So how is it different than Game of Thrones?
The same way that like any other fantasy is different than Game of Thrones. They're genres, Andy. They're like
no. Okay, I'm not trying to goad you. I'm just trying to understand. It's later in time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, later in time,
so more advanced ships.
Different time history. This is colonialism. But dragons. Like there's so much cool stuff that you can do. It needs that budget. It would be brought to life. It'd be huge. People have never seen it before. Deadpool. What made Deadpool is no money. What makes a movie like James Cameron's Avatar, and yeah, people went to see it. Thank you, Goodwill. But it's a bad movie. It's an empty, soulless movie because it has just infinite money pumped into it.
Final thought, Sasha.
The reason Deadpool made money was because the writing was great, the thought behind it was great, and if they had more money, they could do that, but they could have bigger spectacle. We would have a villain that isn't Ed Skrein. We could actually pay for a name brand actor, and we could take that bomb-ass soundtrack and make it even better because they could pay for the marketing and they could pay for all of the music licensing.
Like Suicide Squad.
I feel like it would be
which was the best part about that whole
still
movie.
have the creative minds behind it. The creative minds don't get less creative because they have more money. They just have more money, which means they have more resources, and that's what I want to see. I want to see when they have an unlimited opportunity.
After Fights, we're just arguing about that.
I look forward to this in After Fights. Go ahead, Jake.
Again, you're talking about two of the biggest iconic characters that have hit movies recently. Ever since they started with Iron Man 1 and said, listen, this is going all the way to Avengers. And when the first Avengers came out, the amount of money it made was ridiculous. No one knew Man of Steel was going to lead to Justice League. We heard it. People were like, let's see what happens. Now, regardless of the backlash it gets from having Zack Snyder, this movie is still going to crack $1 billion. Could you imagine, and that's globally, could you imagine you put the two of these together, the money they would make, and you tell these actors that who already are getting paid, they know what this movie generates. They know these movies generate hand over fist dollars. You're telling me they wouldn't say, all right, and I'll take this back in. This movie could clock 2030, not I'd say 2030, probably maybe $10 billion. If you put the two of them together, how many people would go see it just to see it? Again, there were people who were never fans of the comic book products who went to go see these movies religiously.
What's the highest grossing film ever?
Ever?
$10 billion. Is that? That's like.
I mean, that's an awesome. That's a really ridiculous.
I mean, highest grossing film of all time.
But I'm just using it as a wide
internationally.
Number. Yeah.
Oh my God. Hang on. I believe it's the Force Awakens. It might be Avatar, but I believe it's the Force Awakens.
$2 billion?
Sorry, you threw
it's
me
like
for
1.8.
It's Avatar still? Okay. Sorry, I'm being told it's Avatar. I don't know why, but Box Office Mojo does not make it that
easy. Anyway,
who would direct that though?
That would be
Zack Snyder.
Jesus, no. All the Avengers be dead in the first 30 seconds.
Joss Whedon.
I could see that.
Here's the thing.
J.J. Abrams.
Here's the thing. let's take the money aside. What deserves the most money to figure out is how I'm sort of doing it. Let's not just put a specific number on it. So all this talk of how much is one going to cost or more, I'm just talking money, right? We're going to throw all the money to make the thing we want to see. I think they got you out, Sasha, because I think they both agree that the lack of money sort of gave it the edge that made it fun. I see your point. You can make more spectacle, but just based on that argument point, I think they knocked you down. So it comes down to Justice League versus Avengers, which I do think a lot of people will go pay and see. Joe doesn't. He's tired of this genre, but I'd see it. And then it comes down to this Tamari, which sounds cool.
Navy Dragons, you can, whatever you want to call it. Boats and Dragons.
It actually does sound really cool.
Boats and Dragons.
Boats and Dragons.
Boats and Dragons.
So, if I'm throwing the endless amount of money, I feel like I could probably see Boats and Dragons. I can't see that showdown, and if we're going to see it, I want to see the showdown. So I give Jay the point.
Yay!
Not saying it's going to be good, but I'd still see it.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Avatar is the #1 movie of all time internationally with $2.7 billion. It's funny that the thing about the Justice League is bound to cross $1 billion because that's exactly what people said about Batman v Superman. It's like, it's definitely going to cross $1 billion. It came close, $873 million.
That's a lot of money.
Still.
Do you know what the highest budgeted, the most expensive movie ever made is currently? It has a budget of $378.5 million.
What?
It's one of the shitty Pirates of the Caribbean
Pirates
movies.
of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides.
Yes.
$378.5
How much did it
million.
make?
How much did it
like
make internationally?
over
A lot. It made
over $1 billion.
$1 billion internationally.
Even the crappy fourth one, which I never even saw. I give it.
And it's by the way, Slash Film is saying that the Jurassic World story is dubious, but the original Jurassic World was made for $150 million, but it's going to be a lot. It's going to be made for a lot.
You got another megalosaurus jumping out of a pool.
They're going to be throwing money at that.
Speaking of promising directors giving infinite money.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, Jay, you got a point.
Thank you. I'll take one.
Because I watched that. What'd the poll say?
The poll said that with 48% Avengers versus Justice League would be the one.
If I get 10%, I'll be stoked.
34% voted for Deadpool. 18% voted.
Yay! What's up, nerds?
They made a note that said, it literally said, asterisk note, Temeraire is the Napoleonic Wars with dragons. So, there you go.
Boats and Dragons and Napoleon.
All right, well, Jay, you made it. You got a point on the board. Please come back. I know it's fun.
Whenever.
Now you're going to stick around and help me decide a winner between
Yes,
these two.
I definitely will.
All right, so guys, you know how the speed round works. Sasha, Joe, you've made it to the finals. Here's your chance for 5 more points. It's tied, so it's anybody's game. You'll have 20 seconds to answer, and then you'll have 10-second rebuttals. Any questions before we begin?
I'm good.
Now remember, if you say the same answer, you got to say it first. So say it quick, react quickly, or pause if you like, and then time obviously will start when you start speaking. Any questions? All right, first one's up is a bargain bin submitted from Harry Lee 941 on Twitter. He found 2 movies at his store and he put them up there. Let's see. Yell out whichever one you see.
What I want to watch?
Yeah, which one should we buy? Let's see it.
Talladega Nights.
Zoolander.
Oh, there we go. All right. I heard Talladega Nights first from Sasha, so you'll be going first. Talladega, and then Joe, you'll be doing Zoolander. Go ahead, Sasha, whenever you're ready. Time starts when you begin speaking.
Will Ferrell and Adam McKay are some of the most talented comic geniuses working right now. That movie is hysterical from start to finish. There is nothing better than seeing Will Ferrell when he was at his peak, and that to me is pretty much his damn peak. It is quotable, it is hilarious, but it's also relatable in this weird way where even though he's a jerk, you still want him and you still root for him.
Joe?
Will Ferrell is great at his peak. This is not his peak. This is the beginning of his descent. This movie has one maybe solid, really memorable scene, and that's the prayer scene, Little Lord Baby Jesus, Mountain Dew. Zoolander is hilarious from start to finish. The cast is incredible. It's not just everybody watching Will Ferrell screw around. Everyone brings it in this movie. It's a comedy ensemble. Ferrell's incredible as Mugatu.
Completely not true. The truth is Will Ferrell is the best part of that movie, which is the best part of this movie. And the thing about Zoolander is it's super dated. It does not translate at all anymore. But if you watch Talladega Nights, it's still hilarious.
No. Zoolander still absolutely holds up. Listen to my friend Billy Zane. He's a cool guy. Someone's phone ringing and a small dwarf answering his phone thinking it was ringing only to look down sadly in the background.
That's all the time. All right. Ooh. Damn. Ian, let's get you involved in the couch. What do you think based on those arguments?
I think I gotta go Zoolander.
All right. Jay?
Talladega Nights for me.
Ooh, Dan?
Talladega Nights.
Based on those arguments, Zoolander.
I'm with Zoolander too.
Good job.
Not
Jason.
Zoolander 2. Zoolander 2 sucks. Zoolander 2 is offensively bad. I cannot believe a talented man like Ben Stiller made that movie. Sorry, I gotta
Somebody
say
told him,
that made
"You
me
should
so
bring it
angry. That movie was so lazy and awful. All right, but there you go. So Joe gets the first point. Still anybody's game. Question number 2. I'm gonna give you 2 Hollywood names. Yell out who's better. Okay?
Okay.
Jennifer Lawrence or Chris Pratt?
Chris Pratt.
Jennifer Lawrence.
All right, Joe took some time on his thought there, or he let Sasha pick. We'll never know, or I guess we'll know after the fight. But Chris Pratt for Sasha, whenever you're ready.
When you think about Chris Pratt's evolution from the fat guy on Parks and Rec to being the most wanted A-list Star-Lord leading man that we have right now, that is a true trajectory. He was on Everwood, for God's sake. That should have been career hell. He never should have gotten out of that. But instead now, he's hilarious. He can be in something like Zero Dark 30 and still be totally believable.
Joe?
Chris Pratt's evolution as an actor is that he started working out and got abs, which is very impressive. But Jennifer Lawrence just brings it acting-wise. Her range is so much wider. The Hunger Games franchise, Mystique and the X-Men, all of she's an Oscar winner. She's an Academy Award winner. She comes to work. She puts her working boots on and she comes in and she does a job.
Do you know how much harder it is to be funny than it is to cry on cue? Do you realize how difficult it is to do what Chris Pratt does and makes it look so effortless? He made a goddamn megalosaurus look like something you should actually fear. He
didn't make anything look scary in Jurassic World, and I do know how much tougher comedy can be, but Chris Pratt is also not the funniest guy working in Hollywood right now. He's a pretty decent Harrison Ford.
I love Harrison Ford.
All right. Jay, based on those arguments, who are you going to go with?
Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence fucking sucks. She makes the same face constantly. She literally
Hold on.
just pouts.
Stricken all those from the record. No one can debase what she just said on this argument. Dan.
Oh, wow. She puts her working boots on. Jennifer, I gotta go with Jennifer Lawrence on that one.
But wait, all right, so I'm going to chime in now. What the hell does that even mean? He didn't give me anything. He couldn't even name the fact that you.
She puts on all the best boots.
The fact that you pulled out Zero Dark 30 and showed me the range.
But he
you gave me all
rebutted
those
that.
things.
He said his only thing is getting abs. She's an Oscar winner. That she comes, she brings
No,
a
she
great
brought the range
performance.
because he was good in Zero Dark 30.
No, she can't.
You didn't even
Everwood.
name a single Oscar-winning role. You did. She did.
But he said that she
You
won an
picked the.
Oscar.
I said she can't-
showed
I said-
the range from Hunger Games to Mystique.
I said she's carried 2 franchises. I said she's carried 2 franchises and won an Academy
I
Award.
picked Chris Pratt. Ian, what do you think?
Sorry, Sasha.
Ian, go home.
Lawrence, I'm sorry.
All right. I mean, I would have gone with you, but the 3, I don't want to overrule it because 3 of them agreed. So Pratt.
That is lame.
I'm with you. I would have voted for you.
Everwood, you guys. I brought out Everwood.
She's
I
so
am the
bad.
judge,
She's
but-
so
I'm
bad
glad
in
that you
every
brought up-
movie I could remember.
Hey, you're the
Yeah.
judge.
You already gave me the point.
No, I am the judge. You're wrong. You just admitted it. No, I can't take away
She
the
brings all the best boots. I've seen them.
Her boots are phenomenal.
I like consensus on this because it means more people are listening and thinking. But I was
Phenomenal
with you,
boots.
Sasha. All right, so
Thanks,
you got
dude.
it. Wait,
Sasha's backed into a corner.
yeah,
yeah.
4-2.
don't we put Sasha in a corner?
Ah, well, except that they do.
All right, number 3. Here we go. Who should star in the new Scarface? As him.
That's Tony Montana.
That's Tony Montana.
Oh, they both took some time here, Dan. They're both taking their time. They
It's
can't take
just
too
like-
long, but they clearly are waiting. Joe
Pedro
is waiting
Pascal.
Oh.
Who? Pedro Pascal?
I believe that is the
Game of
red.
Thrones?
Is that the Red
So
Viper
then
of Dorne?
I will
Yes.
go
Yes.
with Wagner Moura.
Who is?
That's Narcos. It's the dude who plays
Yeah,
Pablo
Narcos.
Escobar.
So we got Narcos versus the Red Viper. Can I just say that? Sorry, I know they're very professional humans and actors. But that's how I'm going to remember this.
Yeah, I am too. Same here. I'm not gonna remember names. I'm not gonna.
Narcos versus the Red Viper. All right, and Red Viper was first, so go ahead, Joe.
Pedro Pascal's presence was so strong in Game of Thrones. He's one of the single guys that people remember from this entire series. He came in, he made such a huge impact. His death wasn't a big deal because the eyeball thing is because people were like, this guy's amazing. And that's a dude who you want to carry a new franchise. That's a guy you want to trust with such an iconic role.
Pedro and Wagner go head to head every single episode of Narcos, and Wagner is so much more he's so captivating. The thing that he did with Pablo Escobar was he made a character that is very much like Scarface, somebody who you shouldn't root for, but you do, somebody who shouldn't be charming, but is, somebody who you want to see take a fall, but then when it happens, you wish it hadn't happened because you so care about that person. And it's
I just think it's unimaginative to say that a guy that already kind of plays Scarface should just play Scarface again. I just think that's boring. Pascal just brings something to the table. There's something a little different about him, a little off, a little intense. It's got sort of a coldness.
Pedro totally lacks the depth that you need for this character. If you watch him in Game of Thrones, it's completely one level. If you watch him on Narcos, it's again completely one level. He doesn't bring anything. If you watch a bitches with seconds.
Ian, I'm coming to you. Based on those arguments, you going with the Red Viper or are you going with Narcos?
Narcos. Yeah.
Thank you, Ian.
You're
you
welcome.
can stay.
Jay.
Narcos.
I'm with Narcos too. Doesn't matter what Dan thinks for timing's sake.
But
Sorry,
Dan, what did you think?
Narcos.
Thank you.
All right, this is it. Got to back to the corner. Here we go. Number 4. Best movie set in the jungle.
Jungle Book.
The new one.
The new
Or
one.
the cartoon. Okay.
Jurassic Park.
All right. All right, so Jungle Book's up first versus Jurassic Park. Time starts when you begin speaking.
The Jungle Book didn't just create a movie, it created a remake. It took a book that was so beloved and created a world that we wanted to live in, even though it should be scary. It should be filled with giant snakes voiced by Scarlett Johansson. It made you feel every single drop in the rainforest. It was all CGI and it was absolutely incredible because it felt like a place that you could curl up and take a nap in a wolf's den. It's beautiful from start to finish.
Ooh. Joe?
That kid sucks in that movie. He's so bad. And they make Christopher Walken sing, and that just reminded me of The Live Hook. Jurassic Park is one of the greatest movies of all time. It's one of Steven Spielberg's masterpieces. You want to talk about things that are real? The T-Rex, it's real. It's not CGI. It's right. Some of the most iconic movie scenes. Must go faster. Must go faster. The raindrop
But
in the
everything
mud.
you're talking about is about the dinosaurs, and also that's an island. What we're talking about is a jungle. The jungle is in the Jungle Book, and that's why every single part of going through that jungle feels experiential.
It's an island with a big prehistoric jungle on it, Sasha. I don't understand what's hard to understand about that. It's a pretty spectacle, and the talking animals are really cool, and it was a pretty good talking animal movie in a summer that had a lot of animal movies in it.
I feel like you're doing all of your speed round as like Dalton from Roadhouse.
Be nice.
Rip my throat out. Ooh, man. All right, that was good. I'm going to show my cards first since I always go to you guys first, but Sasha painted me a better jungle picture. So I got to give it to Sasha. Jay.
I'm going with Jungle Book. The fact that the animals did make it seem like you wanted to be there around them.
Ian.
It's so hard to pick against Jurassic Park, but I'm gonna go with Jungle Book. Can't believe
Dan.
I'm saying that.
Yeah, Sasha brought the semantics, but Joe brought the condescension. I gotta go with
Sucks
Sasha.
had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
All right, this is it. Wow, we're out a
geez.
tiebreaker here. I mean,
Whatever happens,
this
Joe.
is it. Winner of this takes the whole game.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's a long episode, but hey, worth it at the end. Here we go. Oof. I'm gonna give you 2 names. Who's better? Ethan Hunt or Jason Bourne?
Jason Bourne.
I feel like I heard Sasha.
You just heard her louder.
I heard
Sasha?
Joe.
I,
You heard Joe?
Dan
I
heard
Sasha.
me.
I heard Sasha.
Don't have
Sasha. Okay, all right, enough people pointed Sasha. Sasha gets Ethan Hunt. That means you're second, Joe, and you are Jason. Oh no, sorry, you're Ethan Hunt.
Jason Bourne.
Sasha's Jason Bourne, and Joe is Ethan Hunt. Ready?
Yes. What Jason Bourne did was totally change the franchise. The way we see action movies now is different because of Jason Bourne. That moment in the diner where he says, I know the guy behind the counter can handle himself. I know the best place to find a gun is in the cab of that truck outside. I know that I can run flat out at this altitude for 45 minutes before my hands start to shake. It is the best. He's a badass. He's a humane badass, which is what makes him so great. He is so filled with depth. And
The Bourne movies are incredibly one note. If you like tense walking through a crowded subway while people stare at him on surveillance footage, then the Bourne movies, sure, they're your thing. And there's some fun fight scenes, but Ethan brings the fun, man. He brings the massive spectacle. Every time you see one of his movies, you're gonna see something you haven't seen before. You're gonna see Tom do something insane. They're fun, they're crazy. Bourne is just so one note.
You want to talk about a Limp Bizkit video? You're saying that Tom brings something crazy. I'm saying Jason Bourne as a character is so multidimensional. We want to know who he is. We want to go on the journey with him. And even when he has no clue who he is, we care about him.
Joe's taking his time. Time will start when he's begins speaking.
I disagree. From just charisma, he doesn't compare to Tom Cruise's Ethan. He's just boring. He's level. He punches fast and he steals people's guns, and that's really all there is to him.
Ooh, that's how you do it. That's a tough one. Ian, I'm coming to you on the fan cam. What do you think? You're in the game.
Jason Bourne's way more interesting than Ethan Hunt.
Based on the arguments.
Yes.
Okay. Dan.
Yeah, I think Joe was arguing movies, but Sasha to me was arguing character, so I gotta go with Jason Bourne.
Jay?
Character-wise, I'm going with Jason Bourne.
It was close to me. I think you made a valiant effort there, Joe, but I think Jason Bourne did take it. That means Sasha gets the game!
I got knocked out.
You got knocked out and came back.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Very close.
Man,
You were this close at that very end. If you'd given me a little bit more,
Still
I
got a
feel like you
point, though.
stumbled. We'll talk
Yeah.
in the after fight a little bit on your rebuttal.
Damn.
I might have screwed you up with my laugh. I apologize if it's fine. But very good game.
Dude.
That was really tight. All right, where can people find you guys? Let's burn through this because I know we're so quick. Joe Star at JoeStar187.
On Twitter. That's where I am. Buy my album on Bandcamp.
Flash and Friends starting on Wednesday.
Yep.
Boom. Sasha Pearl Raver at Sasha Pearl Raver on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, and on Instagram, and if I still have my job on FX on Friday nights at 8 o'clock.
Jay Washington at my Jay Washington on Twitter.
Mr. J. Washington.
Sorry, there we go. I have it rhymed.
Mr. J. Washington, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. And at the Trusty Sidekick podcast, TrustySidekick.com.
Hope you had fun, man.
I did. Definitely would love to be back.
Yes. Dan Murrell at Murrell Dan on Twitter.
At Murrell Dan on Twitter.
Great. And then Ian Handish at Action Ian on Twitter. Did you have fun, man?
That was great. Thanks for having me.
Good. All right. Well, let's hear more from you and all you guys on After the Fight, which will be on Next Live if you're watching on Plus. If not, see you in New York soon. And don't forget to do the Screen Junkies casting call. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.
Every podcast we put on YouTube comes with this kick-ass graphic listing all the topics your favorite Screen Junkies podcasters are talking about. If you click the topics, you can skip around and choose your own podcast battle royale. Go ahead, try them all. If you haven't already, subscribe to Screen Junkies on YouTube to join us for future fights. Or if you prefer to listen on iTunes, click the logo to download an audio version.